Ooh, what's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. So listen, here's the thing. I'm reviewing a knife today. It came in this very lovely box, and it's a brand that I've never reviewed before. And this is the thing. A lot of people say, hey, can we get some new brands? Because I mean, a lot of times you're getting knives from the same brands because they're trusted. You use them, you like them, you think, man, I want some more of these. Kubi. I have another Kubi coming. Something that's because I just love them, right? But then you got to expand as well. You got to expand your horizons. And the problem with some knife reviewers is they only do high-end stuff. And they think that, if it's not carpenter steel and if it didn't cost you $400 for a toothpick, then it's not a real knife. And blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you get guys like me and you get guys like Scabber and all these people that come out there and we test these big knives. We test these big companies. And then you look at the next day and day one might be a $600 knife. Day two might be a $20 knife, right? And the thing is, if a knife knifes, it's a knife. And that's all that matters. So all the knife snobs out there are going to look at especially price. Where it's made and how much it costs, and that means it's no good. Never used one in my life, but it's no good. I can tell you that because it's not Nylox. No, don't listen to people like that. They are complete morons. If somebody is telling you that, they are a complete moron. So getting to where we're getting to, there's this knife company that I just came across. I'm going to show you. It's called NedFoss. NedFoss or NedFoss or however you pronounce it, that's what it is right there. NedFoss, right? This is their homepage, right? And when I first came across this, I saw something that in the U.S. especially we call them gas station knives, right? They're like a novelty knife type thing. And I saw this novelty knife from this company, and I said, okay, well, I probably won't give these guys a second look. And then I gave them a second look, which normally, and I want to show you what I saw first, right? That made me think, okay, no, this is probably not something I'd ever get into. I saw this, and I said, oh my God, this looks like something like some 14-year-old boy would see and go, oh my God, it's got chains and it's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And so I do not say blah, blah, blah. So I saw that and I thought to myself, all right, well, maybe no. And then I started really looking. And while they are a better priced company than a lot of other companies, they have budget options and then they have mid-range options. And some of their mid-range options are really freaking nice. And I'm going to show you one. This isn't the one I'm reviewing, but I'm going to show it to you. This Damascus knife with G10. The G10 scales on this thing are crazy beautiful. And I'm thinking to myself, this might have to be something that ends up in the D-Bad collection because that knife is beautiful. And there's a couple others that I saw that were stunning. And while I have a fixed blade, I looked at a couple of their folders. But look at this. It's called the Clippy tool. This knife is actually really nice. It's a really nice knife. So I'm looking at a couple things, and then I said, well, let me look at their fixed blades. All right? And the first fixed blade I saw impressed me. I said, full flat grind, G10, that's not a gas station knife. I said, well, let me keep looking. So that right there is actually a really nice knife, right? It has some good features. Then they have like axes and hatchets, and they have a really nice karambit, and they have a few things, but the one that I'm going to show you today is it's like a survival knife, right? And they pride themselves on using good materials, right? They're not going to go out there and, you're going to have a metal that came from space that costs $6,000 an ounce. And they're not going to do all that because what they need to do and what they want to do and what they're doing is they just want to make something functional. Something that you can take that's going to be sharp and that's going to work and work every single time you need it to. So opening this package, I got the little accordion tell-all on it, right? And then the knife itself. And it's a good size. It comes with a ferro rod, not just a ferro rod. This will probably freak out the dogs, but It's got an, sorry boys, it's got an emergency whistle on it. So, you know, when you're trapped in the woods or you get lost from whoever you're hiking with or out there with, those actually can come in handy. Or if you have an animal, you blow that hard enough, it might back up a bear or a cougar or something like that, because that high-pitched sound is not going to be friendly to them. So I thought that was pretty good. No rattle in the sheath at all. The sheath was straight up, the sheath is straight up perfectly molded. I mean, you know a knife is going to have really good beveling when you could see it through the freaking sheath. It's just a really nice, held tight sheath. That's just a really good sheath, right? And you can wear it in different ways, and it's ambidextrous and all that. Now, here's a little thing. You see this black dot right here? Normally, you'll see a hole way down here at the end. This black dot is a drainage hole. So if you are nipple deep in a river and you have to cross and you have all your gear with you and this thing fills with water, guess what? It's going to drain out. So I thought, okay, so far, so good. Everything about this is checking some boxes. You have some really nice screws holding on some extra nice G10, right? This G10 is beautiful. You have exposed full tang all the way around. So your grip, for me being a 2X hand, the grip can be small. But when I put myself in a forward grip, it's actually really comfortable. And I expected it not to be. When I saw how small the grip was, I thought, all right, I don't think this is going to work for me. And then I grabbed it and I said, okay, this is going to work for me. If you have anywhere between small and large hands, this thing is going to be a beautiful knife in the hand. I mean, you're going to be like, wow, where's this been all my life? It's just a really nice grip. It's contoured well. The choiling here, along with the swell, it doesn't just go up. It goes up, down, around, and it curves through. It's really thought up right. You know what I mean? These guys did a good job, and I was kind of impressed. So, and I'm thinking, how much was this song going? I'm thinking $46.99. $46.99. G10, got a really nice shape. I'm thinking it's worth a gamble, right? It's got to be. So let's go through the specs. We're looking at 9 1/4 overall length. We have it says 3.9 inch just to the cutting edge. We have a 5.35 inch handle, which gives you enough handle to still have handle. You got a little cracker at the end, so if you got to crack open nuts because it's a survival situation, if you're cracking up in nuts or mussels or things like that, clams or crab, this right here in a survival situation when it comes to food is big time important. Even if you need to make a fire starter, like let's say you lost your ferro rod, boom, 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 knocking some shale down and getting a nice sharp edge on a stone or creating a weapon with stone, that is huge. That's huge. Those small things that you don't think about actually mean something. It does come with some cordage, and it's not a lanyard, it's cordage, which means this is survival cordage. You can pull out the fibers, you can use it as tinder, you can use it to tie things up, you can use this to lash the knife to a stick so you can spearfish or hit an animal at bay, right? So all that is good. Let's get into some more. The blade steel is a 5CR13, right? It's they make them really, really sharp. Full tang, ergonomic, fire starter whistle, versatile, blade thickness is 3.9 centimeters, which is 5 millimeters. Let's see, it's got a 58 Rockwell, and it weighs 7.98 ounces. And here's one thing I can tell you is the weight of the blade up front is really nice. It's got a hefty feel to it. Now, it's a hollow grind, so this isn't your chopper. If this was going on a camp with me, and it will, this absolutely will, this isn't going to be, obviously, because of length, this isn't going to be my chopping knife. So this isn't going to be my batoning knife. This isn't going to be my chopping knife. This is going to be the skinner. This is the cutter. This is the feather sticking knife. This is all the fine work where you need something crazy sharp. Look at these, this beveling, man. The grinds are near perfect. I mean, well, perfect. I mean, not near perfect. They're perfect. You won't find a better grind line. It's just it's unflawed, right? That's really, really nice. That's super special for $46.99. All right, so what's it going to be then? If it, you know, what's it going to be? Your survival knife? Is it your bushcraft knife? And it's kind of a mix, because your survival knife generally is going to be big and it's going to be able to hack things apart while still being able to do some of the delicate work, but it's always better to have a delicate working knife, right? So this is going to be closer to your Moras, but with more heft, closer to your SRKs, right? So let's see what we have here. This is sharp, man. This knife, oh, I'm way down here. This knife, like, is super, super freaking sharp. That is super sharp. And that's the joys. Look at that bald spot. That's the joys of a really properly ground hollow grind, right? It's not the knife you're going to pry with, because you can snap a hollow grind if you pry with it. This is your cutter. This is your all day, every day cut things up knife. And the best part about the steel is it's easy to sharpen. It will hold a good edge, but eventually when you need to sharpen it, it's going to sharpen pretty simply. So giving this knife a chance was so far seeming like it's going to be worth it. Once I took it out of the box, I thought, okay, this is pretty good. Now there's some jimping that we'll talk about. The jimping is some of the least aggressive jimping I've ever felt. It's really smooth, which means you're not going to get hot spots on the thumb when you're using the jimping. It's actually really nice. It's going to do its job because you can feel it. You know where it is. It's going to create a little hold, but it's not going to dig into your skin. That's really nice. You do have a harpoon style tip, which means you can skin. It is choiled up here, so you can choke up for feather sticking and tight work. It's like the design wise, everything's been thought of. They thought of it all. Now it comes down to, is it as good as I hoped it would be when I said this thing needs to come to my house? Let's find out. First things first, before we go outdoors, we want to see if the fire maker will make fire. Now I'm going to use the spine rather than the choil to strike this, because it does have a 90 degree. I don't know how long it's going to take because I didn't carve any of the black stuff coating off. Oh, hey, look at that. That actually went pretty quick, much quicker than I assumed, because it was the first time using this little ferro rod. You can see the shiny area that I just created, but voila, the ferro rod that's used to make fire made fire. So already it's a 1-up. Okay, so let's take this blade outside and see what it will cut. Uh-oh, I got the dogs following, which means somebody's gonna get yelled at in a minute. All right, so while we're out here, it's a nice day. Let's get it in the sun. Let's get it in the sun. Wipe off the black mark and see that the spine still looks good. Spine still looks good, so it can strike a ferro rod without damage. Look at this. It's actually a pretty attractive knife, I have to say. It's a really attractive knife, actually. For price point, when you compare it to other hollow grinds, like let's say you're talking about a Benchmade, even a Saddle Mountain Skinner, which I don't think that's a hollow grind, but it's about the same kind of knife. It's got the same purpose. How's it going to compare? You know what I mean? How's it going to hold up? How's it going to knife? And that's the question that we have today, and that's exactly what we're about to find out. So let's lower you guys here a bit, and we'll start at the stump. Let's start with some, we'll do some of the typicals. We're going to do the 4-foot drop, so 4 feet from tip to stump. See how that balance goes. Even with the cordage on the end, it's falling really straight. We're going to do a couple hard downward throws, see how the tip holds up, and see if these scales loosen at all from impact and vibration. And we're going to check the bite of the knife, which is actually fantastic. That made a clear line right here, showing how far that knife tip just sank into the wood. Ugh, man, that's actually really nice. Okay, so being a swedged tip, it had zero problems going into the log. Zero problems going through the tire. Oh yeah, that's a no problem. Being a, look at this, being a hollow grind and being really sharp, no problem. Knife snobs right now are saying, oh, it's 8CR 13 MOV, can't go through a tire. Okay, well, there you go. So let's go with the 1/2-inch nylon rope. We're just going to try a push cut. I literally barely pressed down. That was sharp. I wonder if I can get a chop on it. I don't know. We'll see. So extension cord, it's a real extension cord. The metals are inside. I don't know if I hit it or not. I may have missed. Ah, I caught it. Look at this. Look at this. That was just a bad swing. I caught it on the heel because this dug in. So I went too far. But look at this. Where I hit went straight through. So we are going to try and do that again because, oh, actually, we don't even have to. It went through all the metals. And that was just a bad swing. And still, I caught it all. So let's check. Are all these metals damaging the edge? How about that tire, that steel belted tire? Any damage? I don't see any. I don't see any. All right, so clearly after going through a tire, slicing a tire, cutting something, it's not a carpenter steel, so it can't be sharp enough to go through 4 layers of leather, unless it does, which it did. I love making knife snobs look stupid. I love it. I love getting a knife that they say is not supposed to be good and saying, this is good. This is really good. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right. Oh, this is where this knife is going to shine. These are so light, they're just going to flake off the ends. But you could see they're really, really thin. And I even have a hump to go through. So, oh my gosh. Look at this. I'm trying not to cut them all off. It's just so easy. This is where a hollow grind shines. This is when you take a hollow grind and you start making knife poetry. Oh man, these little, I mean, it's just making bird's nests over here. Look at these curls. Look at these curls. So now let's do a pull for some really, really thin stuff. Oh my gosh, that is hair. Oh, I just knocked them off. Some of those are just hair thin. But this is how you make a curly curl. This is how you make a curly curl. Pubescent. Look at this, man. That's pretty sweet. Am I going to be able to chop down to get a point? So if I want to make a pit spike, a spear, an arrow, anything that has to come to a point, if I got to fish with it or something, how's it going to be carving? Man, flawlessly. Flawlessly. This thing is going to be a tip maker right here. You got to make marshmallows or hot dogs or anything like that. That's going to be it. That is going to be it. Look at this, man. I got to say, $46.99 for a survival knife that comes with a ferro rod. That's just crazy, crazy sharp. Crazy, crazy sharp. Now, I told you it can be used for skinning. Well, let's skin. It kind of makes me excited for some of their folders too, because they have one that I didn't show you and I need to pull it up. It's a folder like I've never seen before. And it may be a novelty piece. I don't know. I really would love to try it. So I might just have to pick one up. But it's a folding knife, a regular folding knife. It's like a Tonto style, but it comes with a slingshot attachment. And I was like, what? How perfect is that when you are out and you are stuck and you need to survive and you have, let's say, your survival knife, right? But you also have a pocket knife that you can use for small tasks that also has a slingshot attachment. Now, all of a sudden, you need to peg a squirrel or a rabbit or something like that. That could come in really handy. All right, so we're going to use the harpoon. We're going to dig straight through and rip. And rip it did. That was actually fairly easy. So now we're looking at a blade that blade snobs say doesn't work in the first place, and we're watching it work. And let's see, after all that, is it still sharp enough to take hairs off? Yeah, ooh, I'm gonna go right through myself. It's absolutely, I got some wind, they're all gonna blow off. It's absolutely still razor sharp. Now remember, it's a hollow grind. Hollow grind, which means this is not your batoning knife. So of course we're going to baton with it because, you know, we just got to know. This isn't something that you would do normally with the knife, right? Unless it was your only knife and it was an emergency. But we just want to know if it can take it, right? So what we're going to do is, because it's not a very wide blade, we just need to pick something like this, and that'll have plenty of room to get a baton across. Oh, plenty of room, and strike down on it. And what this is going to be is, obviously it's not your firewood processing knife, and it just went through a nice knot at the end, but this will 100% be able to be your kindling knife. So if you got to process kindling, even if you're out in the woods and you're finding these smaller sticks and things like that, like pieces of tree that are littering the ground, and you say, okay, well, I need to process some kindling. This is absolutely going to be able to be good for that. Even as a hollow grind, you can process kindling because it's not something crazy that you have to dive through. Look at it, I just accidentally hammered it straight into the freaking wood. So yes, you can still baton with a hollow grind. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that I'm saying you can't. It's just smarter not to. You know, they say there's a tool for every job. But right here, we got a little fat wood right here. Just simple. Let's get off all the crud. There isn't a flaw on that edge. You can see some scratches on the blade because it's being used, but no flaws, none. That edge is beautiful. That edge is beautiful. $46.99, NedFoss, man. I'll tell you, you know what I mean? It's like people say, hey, let's try something different. Let's try something new. Let's try to expand, you know, the people's horizons and let people know that there are things out there that they might never heard of. But just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it's bad. I'm not sure how old the company is or when exactly they started getting into like improved knives. You know, when you go from like a fantasy piece to a reality piece. And this right here, I can honestly say this is a reality piece. This is a straight up really good little knife. This is a good knife. And that's not some guy getting paid to say that's a good knife. Because, I mean, who in their right mind at NedFoss would want to pay me for beating on their knife? But, let's see. Hey-yo! First try! So, that threw really nicely. So what am I finding out about this thing is, this is a good knife. $46.99. And it's sharp, it's stout, it's strong, it's a cutter. Even if you were working in a factory, you're working in a Costco or a Home Depot or something where you got to cut stuff open all the time, this is a really good knife for that. It's going to be big enough to where you're not going to lose it on your body, or if you wanted to throw the sheath in a pocket. And it's going to be big enough to where you can really stretch out and cut stuff to where you don't have to be all choked up with a little tiny knife. But this thing is the one where, you know, your buddies at the shop, when they want to cut something open, they're going to say, dude, let me use your knife, because this is a nice knife. So now I'm really intrigued to look at some of their folders, some of their real world folders anyway, and give it a try. This thing's right here is pretty good. Let's put a stab down on that cracker in the rear. Well, I mean, that says it all. But All right, I'm impressed. I looked at this website and I said, let me see. I wonder if there's something on there that would actually make me say, okay, yeah. And okay, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. It's a good little knife, right? It's a good little knife. It's designed well, and that's my main thing when I look at a knife. Is I want to know that this knife is designed to knife. And it is. It's attractive. I hate ugly knives. I just do. I don't care how they work. I don't like ugly knives. This one is a pretty knife. You won't find me with the one with the chain on it. I'll tell you that. But you'll find me with this. Not so bad. So, NedFoss, I'm gonna get back on that website and actually really look in a little bit more because they piqued my interest. So that's it for this one. Hi, I'm Donnie B all day. Until next knife.